Hey guys, Max Rich here, and today we're doing a quick short lesson on how to properly tune your guitar. And I don't mean with a tuner, and I don't mean the way that most people first learn how to tune their guitar, where you put your finger on the first fret and you do the next open string, that thing. This is the best way to tune your guitar. Now, if you know anything about playing guitar, tuning guitars, if you've done it for a while, you know that very often if you tune the open strings to a tuner and then you go up here and you play a bar chord or you play some other notes, a lot of the times it's not in tune, and that's because of something called intonation. Basically, intonation, like a quick sort of like limited explanation of what it is basically making sure that when the open strings are in tune, so are all the frets. When you play a note here, it's going to be in tune. When you play a note here, it's going to be in tune, and so on and so forth all over the neck, making sure that everything is in tune. Getting good intonation is part of getting a setup. When you have a guitar tech or a guitar shop set up your guitar, if you know how to set up your guitar yourself, you can intonate your guitar using the saddles. But that being said, even if you have an intonated guitar, a lot of the times what will happen is your neck will slightly move. This is made out of wood, right? So depending on the humidity, if the humidity rises or drops in your area, the wood of the neck will shift even just a little bit and can change that intonation. Now, it's usually not enough that you need to reset up your guitar every time, but very often what happens is when you tune your guitar to open strings, you use a tuner and you're just tuning the open strings are in tune, and then you go up somewhere and it's not horribly out of tune when you're playing up here on the 7th fret. It's just a little bit out of tune, enough that it may bug you. And to be honest, you kind of want to try to be as in tune as you possibly can. And that's what today's lesson is about. Today's lesson, we're going to talk about how to tune using harmonics. If you don't know what harmonics are basically if you put your finger over the actual fret, let's say the 5th fret, not in between the frets, but actually over the metal bar, and you don't push down, and you just barely touch the string and pluck the note, you get that sound. That's a harmonic. Like on the 12th fret, 9th fret, or 7th fret, sorry. Those are all harmonics. We're going to tune using harmonics for two reasons. One, they're way easier to hear, and two, this is the overtones of a harmonic create way more of a, I want to say, in-depth audio image, so you can hear more details from a harmonic than you can from an actual fretted note. And so what we're going to do, we're going to take a metronome, right? And you could do this part with a tuner, but generally speaking, you want to have some reference pitch to make sure that you're in tune to something. I'm going to use a metronome, but you can use a tuner. Basically, the idea is to get your A string in tune. The reason we use the A string is because Western music in Western society is tuned to the pitch A440. When you listen to an orchestra and before they start playing, they all play that one same note real long. That is the note A440. And so on my metronome, I can get a sound out of my metronome, and I can tune to this sound. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the A string, and I'm going to play the 5th fret harmonic. Right, like that. I could also play the 12th fret harmonic if I want, but I'm going to use the 5th fret harmonic to tune to the pitch A. It's going to be the same note. So I'm going to do that, and this is how it sounds. My guitar is purposely out of tune so you can hear what I'm talking about. Now, when I play this out of tune harmonic with the in tune metronome, what you're going to hear is you're going to hear two waveforms clashing into each other, and they're going to be very sort of dissonant sounding. So that's what you're wanting to listen for. You want to listen for not a clean, uniform sound, but the clashing of two notes together. That's what we're listening for. So here's my metronome, and here's the note. Can you hear that? I'll put a little overdrive on it just so you can hear some sustain. All right, let's try it again. It's vibrating real fast. Right? And so what that signifies to me is that the string is too low and I need to bring it up. So I'm going to bring it up, and you'll be able to hear the vibrating. It's vibrating pretty fast now. You'll be able to hear that lessen. It'll go whoa, 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 until they're totally uniform and identical sound waves. So this is what that sounds like. Now we just hit it. Now if you listen real carefully, it's almost perfectly in tune. There might be a slight waver, right? This may take a little bit of ear training. This might take a couple times for you to get used to knowing what you're listening for, but once you do get used to it, this is by far the most superior way to tune. So, and just so you know, if you're tuning electric guitar rather than acoustic guitar, it's always best to have the most treble possible, so try using the bridge pickup. So then once I get this string in tune, let's check one more time. There we go. Now I'm perfectly in tune. I can hear there's no wavering at all. The couple times before that, it wasn't wavering super fast like it was in the beginning. It was more like woo, woo, like very slow swelling. And you'll be able to hear it even more when I tune one string against it, another one. So this is what that sounds like. If I tune now, if I want to tune the low E string to my A string, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to play the 5th fret of the low E, and then I'm going to have to play the 7th fret of the A string, and I'm going to play them together. Now I know that my A string is in tune, so, and I know because I detuned my guitar, but let's say you didn't, you're just picking up your guitar for the first time in the day, your E string is going to be out of tune in compared to your A string. So this is what that sounds like. Can you hear that? It's wavering. Wow, 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 wow. So as I raise the pitch on the E string, you'll hear it kind of snap into place. Totally there. This is very, very finite details. But the reality is your ear can hear in much more detailed imagery than a tuner can, than your standard tuner. I mean, you would have to get a really, really expensive tuner to be able to be as good as your ear. So once again, here we go, the 2 notes. Slight wavering, which means I need to go up just a tiny fraction of a bit more. There it is. That went too far, okay? So now we're there, right? You can hear it when it goes past, the note, you can really hear it like, I'll do another example. I'll tune to the D string so you can hear it even better. So now, let's move on. I have the A string and the E string in tune. Now I'm going to tune the D string. So I tune, once again, the 5th fret on the A string and the 7th fret on the D. So I'm tuning the 5th fret harmonic on the low string, on the lower of the 2, and the 7th fret harmonic on the higher of the 2. And I want to make sure that I'm always tuning to an A string of some kind. So every string is going to be tuned to the A string, making sure that they're all uniform. Because if you tune the D string to the A string, and then the G string to the D string, and the B string to the G string, if you're a little bit off on one of those, then the next string you tune to that one will be a little bit more off. And then you tune the next one to that one, and it'll be exponentially farther off. By the time you get to the high E string, you'll be significantly off from where you started. So the best strategy is to tune everything to one string. So we're tuning the 5th fret harmonic on the A to the 7th fret harmonic on the D. And you can really hear that one waver. So just for an experience, I'll drop the D string even farther so you can hear it more extreme. It's wavering real fast. You hear that? Now I'm going to raise it up. You hear that? It's kind of slowing down the wavering. And now I'm very close, but I'm going to go past in tune, and I'm going to raise the pitch higher than it should be so you can hear what that sounds like. You hear that? Still too high. Now I need to bring the D string back down. Now I'm in tune. So I got my E string in tune, I got my D string in tune, and now it's time to tune my G string. Now, I need to tune the G string to the A string, right? Unfortunately, the way the harmonics lay out, there's not a good way to do that using two harmonics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the 7th fret harmonic on the A string, and then the 9th fret of the G string. That note is an E. So the 7th fret harmonic on the A string is an E. That's an E. And then the 9th fret G string, that's an E, or it's supposed to be an E. It's detuned. So what you can do, you always want to tune using at least one harmonic, preferably on the A string, and then 2 harmonics if you can, right? That's not always an option. So in this case, I'm using a fretted note and a harmonic. And so what I can do, the advantage of tuning to one fretted note against a harmonic, is that I can literally pull or push the string to simulate raising or lowering the tuning of it, so that I can tell like kind of which direction do I need to go. I can hear that it's wavering, but maybe I can't tell if that wavering is because it's too low or if the wavering is happening because it's too high. So I pull and push the string to see like, oh, if I pull it, it sounds like I'm getting closer in tune. That must mean I'm too low, or vice versa. So that's what this sounds like. So it's not horribly out of tune, but what happens if I push it and I loosen the string by pushing it towards the body? It got worse. Wom, 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 wom. Right? So now if I pull the string, I'm going to literally kind of yank it. Ah, okay, so I pulled it too far at first, but that means I went over in tune. So if I pull that string just a little, now I'm in tune. So that means I need to raise the pitch of that string. So I'll raise it a little, and this is sort of trial and error, see how far you raised it. Still not enough. Ah, too far. So I gotta go back down. And sometimes, when you're kind of at that crucial point where because when you can't play 2 harmonics and you have to use one fretted note, you have to keep one fretted, and either you use your right hand to move the tuning peg, or you're doing it like I am, where you're hitting the harmonic, hitting the note, and then taking your hand off and moving the tuning peg, and you're kind of estimating and guessing how far to tune the tuning peg. So a lot of times you can go too high, and then you're like, oh, I gotta go back down. You go down and it's just a hair too low, and you keep bouncing back and forth. So one thing that you can do is you can stretch the string a little bit. You give it like a little bit of a stretch to drop it, to drop the pitch of it, and then tune up from there. So it's just a hair. And one last little thing, if you feel like you're almost there and it could just use like the tiniest little notch higher, what you can actually do is you can actually bend the string above the nut, just like, not hard, but just a little bit. Ah, see, that was even too much. It's very subtle. There we go. Now I'm in. Now I'm there, right? So you notice that when you're tuning with a string, like a fretted note, you can actually push and pull and really sort of gauge how you're going to tune. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing again, except on the B string. Now, instead of playing this E, I'm going to use this E. the 5th fret B string. So same exact concept. So I pulled the string and I pulled it right into tune. So now I'm going to raise this up because I pulled the string and it went in tune. And now I'm just a hair low, like maybe a cent or two low. So I'm going to just push above the nut lightly. Bingo, now we're there. Now the last one, I have two options. I could tune using 2 harmonics, or I can tune using a harmonic and an open string. So if I want to use 2 harmonics, I can use the 5th fret A string and the 5th fret E string. Not the best, because that's a really, really high one. So I personally prefer to use the same E harmonic I was just using, and then an open E. Like that. So it's pretty close, so just for fun, let's drop it so you can hear it out of tune. Wow, 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 wow. That thing's wavering a lot. So now we're going to raise it up. Let's go over, let's go too high. So now that's too high, now I gotta go back down. Sounds pretty good, that's almost there. And that's it, right? One final last little test. Let's go through each one. Okay, and now one chord that you can always tune to. This is very, very important. You do not want to ever tune to a major chord, not even a minor chord. Because the fact that it has a major third, and even in a minor chord it has a minor third, that third is a somewhat dissonant interval. Minor third is less dissonant than major third, but still those are dissonant intervals, meaning that the waveforms will clash. So the best thing that you can do is tune to one huge 6-string power chord. And since the guitar is generally tuned to E, we're going to do an E power chord. Now the 2 notes of an E power chord are E and B, so we're going to basically just play those notes across all 6 strings. So we're going to make an E minor chord, and then we're going to take our pinky and put it on the G string 4th fret, which is a B note. So we're going to have E, B, E, B, B, E. And we're going to play that all together. And you can really hear, because all those notes are E's and B's, you'll really be able to hear if something's out of tune, as opposed to playing a chord with a third that's going to sound somewhat dissonant, and it could give you like a false positive that, oh hey, I'm really out of tune, when maybe you're not, because that's just the sound of a major third. So don't use a major chord to tune ever. Always use this chord to tune. And if you tune with harmonics, I guarantee you will stay in tune and be in tune a lot longer, and you'll be in tune farther up the neck than you would be otherwise. So if you're looking for the accurate, the most effective and best way to tune by ear, harmonics are the way to go. Alright guys, thanks for checking out the video. Please smash that subscribe button and make sure you like and share, maybe comment. Throw a comment my way if there's any guitar material, lessons, songs, ideas, music theory, anything you want to learn, throw it in the comments and I'll be sure to address it, and I'll create a video just for a topic of your choosing. Also, please visit www.maxrichmusic.com for free tabs to these lessons and free lessons in general. And if you mention this or any other lesson, send me a post, send me a DM, send me an email some way. You'll get 50% off a private Zoom or Skype lesson. So, thanks for checking it out.